is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday to everybody. All right, so look, there's a few things I want to clarify and I want to talk about. So if you're joining us, make sure to hit that subscribe if you're new to the channel. And if you're already subscribed, I appreciate you. You already know. So look, let's get down to this. All right, as you can see from the title of what this stream is going to be about. All right, let's face it, everything that DC is putting out with this whole quote unquote reboot with the DCU, it keeps getting worse. And I'm going to explain and I want to talk about a few things with that because the things that are coming out are just more and more ridiculous. And this has to be addressed. We have to talk about it because a lot of people are trying to like justify flops and trying to say that it's okay. But let's get into it and let's talk about this with full details. All right. It's going to be a little bit random all over, but let's just try to focus on the main key things I want to talk about. First things first, I want to address the following. I'm aware that Matt Reeves is working on the Batman and his script for part 2 is already done. Okay. No problem with that. All right. Talking about this whole Matt Reeves universe and everything that has to do with that, let's talk about this whole TV show of the Penguin, right? I saw it. I am not impressed. I'm a DC fan, and this was completely boring. If you enjoyed it, good for you. This show needed to not meet the expectations or the standards, but it should have surpassed that. All right. Let's talk about this. I posted, all right, from Variety. And this is what I've been saying for a while now, people. Remember what I said. They're going to start with the lies. How? Because they're going to start giving fake numbers and they're going to try to make it seem like if it was a huge win. And we're going to catch how their lies are as it follows, right? Apparently, with the opening in 4 days, Penguin only got 5.3 million views. You might be thinking, wow, that's huge. That's a big number. But let's look at the facts and let's look at some of these statistics realistically, right? You have HBO Max that has been around since 2020, all right? And I'm going to get to it about the Snyder Cut because some people are trying to justify and say that the Snyder Cut was a flop. No, it's not. And no, it wasn't. Why? 5.3 million viewers you have, all right? We are 4 years into HBO Max. You should have had big and larger numbers for this show, and it didn't have it. Now you have, and I'm sure that that's what's going on. WB is probably paying off Variety to be like, hey, we want you to make it seem like it was a big success, that everybody was watching it. Let's break it down real quick. All right. You want to talk about numbers? 5.3 million. Divide that by 4 days. You know how many people saw it each day? 1.3 million people a day. That's not enough. That's how many people you had watching in a day in a 4 day span. So you can get your 5.3 million views. Sad, pathetic. You should have had every day over 5 million people watching. And not only that, let's look at the statistics. All right. 4 years with HBO Max, right? You should have been with more people watching it. Now let's rewind time and let's go back when the Snyder Cut was released at the beginning of HBO Max, where it wasn't available all over. You all remember that because it was barely coming out. Now, what happens? Oh, let's look at the numbers. All right. I'm actually looking at this online and you can follow along if you want to. Go on Google, do your research, and you'll see. All right. The first week when the Snyder Cut came out, it made about around, because let's not forget, WB didn't fully want to release the numbers. Until this day, we really don't know. All right. This is just an estimate. So around that time, you had 2.2 million viewers in its first week of HBO Max. Remember, this is the early days, the beginning, the start of HBO Max. Not everybody has it. It's not 100% launched. They were still semi in the beginning stages, right? what happens? 1.8 million HBO Max households watched the first 5 minutes of the Snyder Cut during the premiere frame of March 18 through the 21. Those are big numbers for that time. For the beginning of a streaming service, come on, let's give credit. That's the beginning. It was still launching, it was new. So let's not also forget what happened. All right. On the mobile app, it launched. What happened? The debut of the Snyder Cut led to an 8.9 increase in mobile app launches. Ooh, there's more there. Now, let's not forget the most important part. When that was going on, what did we have? Oh, that's right. Everything on HBO Max started crashing with their servers. Was that a coincidence? No. You know what it was? Everybody wanted to see the Snyder Cut. Of course, you had the fans, and then you had the salty clowns that also wanted to see it. This is why it says the statistics that in the first 5 minutes, people were curious. You see? 5 minutes. They were curious to see because they couldn't believe it. And they still don't believe that we have the Snyder Cut. This is why we, the Snyderverse, and its whole community is winning and is succeeding. This is pathetic for what the Penguin is doing on the streaming service. And let's look at this also, because let's not forget when we had, I can't remember her name right now, but the lady that she was the head of WB, I think it was in another country. And what did she say? She came out and acknowledged it that Zack Snyder's Justice League was a global phenomenon. What does that tell you? That everybody by that time had saw it, was looking at it, or were about to see it. You know why? Because now HBO is starting to spread a little bit more. But now, 4 years later, let's fast forward time. We're in 2024. How come the Penguin isn't coming out with statistics of it's a global phenomenon? You know why? Because it's not. That's the difference. They're trying to sugarcoat it, and this is what I've been saying for a while. And this is what WB is going to be doing here on out, leading into the whole reboot with James Gunn. These are the little tricks that I've been telling you that they were going to do and pull, and they're trying to. How? They're going to try to create fake numbers, fake reviews, and fake ratings so it can think, oh, everybody's watching it. No, not everybody's going to be subscribed to HBO Max. I'm not even on the account. I was on somebody else's account because I'm not giving this company a penny. Now, when I saw that show, I went in and I saw it with no expectation. I'm like, let me see. Let me give it a chance. When I was watching the show, completely, it was making me fall asleep. It was just nothing but talk. It was an imitation of The Sopranos wannabe. It's a mobster movie. I don't care about all the talk. Just get to the point. And then they have that corny joke that, of course, you can clearly see that was James Gunn's work. And if you're denying that, you are part of the problem. When the kid is talking with Penguin, they have a scene that they're eating was a burger or a sandwich, whatever, and they're joking about pickles. Pickles. You want to eat my pickles because they gave you extra pickles? Oh, I don't want to eat your dirty pickles because you ate from them. What? That wasn't necessary. See what I'm saying? Again, here they are, and here they go with their jokes. All right. The Penguin is a flop. I don't care what you say. Don't believe those fake numbers that Variety's trying to put out. That's what this media does. They try to make it seem and sugarcoat it. All right. Moving on from that. All right. Why do I say that the DCU keeps getting worse? Because let's get into this whole new rumor that they're putting out. Kyle Chandler is going to be apparently Hal Jordan as the new Green Lantern. Do you hear that? Kyle Chandler? Come on. Come on. Are you serious? He's going to be Hal Jordan? Let's look at this whole statistics again. And this is talking to you with facts. It's a problem for James Gunn and his new reboot to move forward with Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, and Henry Cavill because there's an age difference. They're older, right? How old is Kyle Chandler? 59. So that's your new Green Lantern, a 59-year-old. Come on, he's a good actor, but on a reboot, you're gonna do this? Come on. And you can see how James Gunn is picking and choosing his buddies. Who else? Nathan Fillion. That dude is 53, right? Anthony Carrigan, 41. And of course, you have Frank Grillo, whatever you know, is pronounce his last name, age 59. So you're gonna tell me this whole reboot is going to be made up majority of the cast with people that are elderly? Wow. Wow. You can clearly see this is work of James Gunn. This is why I'm telling you all that things are shifting and changing right before us. If you didn't see the stream yesterday that I had, go and watch it. I'm telling you, there's some key points, and I'm going to talk about that again. This right here is very important. All of this is leading up and setting up to a massive flop. Clearly, if you look back and you sit and analyze everything that James Gunn is doing, he's completely desperate trying to put everything and make it work. Stick. If it sticks, it goes. If it doesn't, just try to patch it up. There's a meme that's out there that with the guy with the little patch with the water. I forgot what it's called, but you know that you just seal it when it's leaking. That's what it's become. He's become so desperate that he doesn't know what else to do. He's just casting people that he really knows and bringing them on board. And this right here is setting up and cooking disaster on the way. Don't be surprised. Once we get close, things will continue to get more sloppier and messier. And you can see it right now. Because if you have fans casting and selecting certain actors, and of course the studio seeing that, James Gunn seeing that because they're tagging them, and they refuse to do it, that's on them. And that's why things are looking and heading straight down the toilet. It's it's a shame. It's a shame what this company has become and has allowed it to become. All right. Now, when I say the Snyderverse is on the horizon, let me bring you up to date. Like I said, and I posted, and I've been talking about it, and I've noticed that there's not a lot of people talking about what I'm saying, and that's the sad part. More attention needs to be brought to this. This is why I continue to bring you these updates. Check it out just to shorten it real fast. We heard those rumors that Comcast is talking and then negotiated with WB. Why? Think about that. Why would they want to? Because they want to make money. It's about making money. So what did they do? They have made an agreement with WB to be like, hey, we want to do these projects. We want to take these IPs and just build off of it. All right, cool. And within those talks that they had, they brought and they mentioned Zack Snyder and David Ayer. Is this all coincidence into what I'm going to get into next? No. Why? Because that's the rumor that we heard probably about a week ago. And then a few days later, what do we get? Oh, that's right. We get Zack Snyder confirming that he's back for the prequel for HBO Max and what they want to do for WB. Oh, coincidence? No. And then a few days later, what happens? Oh, that's right. David Ayer was in the lot of WB standing under the water tower. What is that? Coincidence? No. And then 2 days later or 3 days later, what did David Ayer posted? A picture officially of the logo of WB, hinting that he's back. What would he be back for? Oh, that's right. The Ayer cut. So that means that something is already cooking in the back. I don't care what you say. Try to deny it all you want, but the fact is that the Snyderverse is on the horizon. The Ayer cut is going to get released and the Snyderverse is going to get restored. Because with all of these massive flops that are incoming, because Creature Commandos is going to be a flop. The Penguin is already a flop. Don't come here and try to justify the Penguin and say that it was a success. No, because if not, go and rewatch this video and you'll see how I explain it. The Batman 2, we might not even make it that far because you think WB is going to invest and spend money to send it into production when things continue to get worse? Let's say they do. All right, cool. And then let's say that it does turn out good. Okay, good. No problem. But now here's where the change is going to come. Imagine wow, the Batman 2 is already ready to go or whatever the deal is. And then now we get the announcement officially that the Snyderverse is back. We're going to get the air cut. And then on top of that, that's all going to go straight to HBO Max on their streaming platform. And then they're going to want to become like Netflix. Obviously, it's all about money and getting subscribers and stuff like that. So now you have the Matt Reeves universe that's separate. So this is all falling into, if you want to call it a quote unquote Elseworld. Now you have James Gunn with his Batman, even if we make it to that far, or his Superman, whatever. And then now we have, oh, guess what? On another timeline, we have the continuation of the Snyderverse and with David Ayer's Suicide Squad and everything that they had promised us. But this time is now going to be exclusive on HBO Max. You know what's going to come from that? The views are going to tell you where the huge fan demand is at. And when they see that those numbers are skyrocketing with the Snyderverse and the air cut, and they want more, and people want more, and they're asking for it, and they're going to be like, yo, nobody's interested in Matt Reeves' The Batman 2. It's not reaching the numbers that we want. Sure, it's making numbers, but it's not making the numbers that we expected. We got to cancel that. We got to can it because this company is going to be focusing and shifting into, well, if it's not working, we have to cut it and we have to limit ourselves to try to gain money, not lose money. They've been losing money for years. And then now, when they see James Gunn's universe, they know that that's completely DOA. But of course, with the contracts, they have to keep on going. And then at the end, where's the spotlight going to be at? Oh, that's right. It's going to be on Zack Snyder and David Ayer. And again, from that, there's so much that we can get from. You imagine we get the Ayer cut released, and it's a huge success because we know it's going to be a huge success, just like the Snyder cut was. And then what happens? Now you have fans asking, hey, we want more. When are you going to give us more? And then all of a sudden they announce and they tell us, hey, David Ayer is going to give us Suicide Squad 2. Not the Suicide Squad, Suicide Squad 2. David Ayer's Suicide Squad 2. And I've been saying that for a while. You can go and check out my old videos, and I've put and I've given the ideas. And you can see how the DCEU can still continue on its own thing without interfering with James Gunn or anything with that. All right. Don't forget the big key element character you have, the Flash. The multiverse has already been introduced. You can't stop that. If they already fixed and they went back and restored the whole Justice League, if you want to say, from the Whedon version to Zack Snyder's real deal vision, then you better believe they could do the same with James Gunn. And they can use the Flash to go back and erase everything that James Gunn is trying to create. They can go back and erase Peacemaker, go back and erase everything that happened with Superman and everything that James Gunn tried to establish, almost how Spider Man did in No Way Home with the whole multiverse and different timelines and stuff like that, and go back and set the course right to where things left off with Zack Snyder. See what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying the Snyderverse is on the horizon. It's right around the corner. And things are being prepared and they're being built right now. So when things fully go the way that they expect, in the sense where we knew James Gunn's DCU was going to be a big flop. Now, what's the backup plan? Well, we only have two options. Either we sell WB Studios overall, the whole studio, or we restore the Snyderverse. And I've been calling it for a while, and that's what it looks like. WB and their ego are so high that they're not going to want to sell their company. And they're trying to sell it. The rumor has it. But David Zaslav is trying to tax three times the price. This is why nobody's bidding on it because it's ridiculous. Who's going to want to pay that, especially with the debt that they have? They're more in debt than what they are with the profit. So it makes sense for all these companies to back out and be like, I'm not spending no money on it. But that doesn't stop David Zaslav from selling assets of the company, like their IPs. Harry Potter, you have, of course, DC. You have so many things that they're not doing. and they can sell them, sell them. Don't you not doing anything with it? The same with the music division. There's so much that Warner Brothers can hold on and carry that they're becoming the Marvel of the 90s, in the sense that they're starting to start they have to sell their assets in order for them to stay afloat, because if not, it's going to go straight up rock bottom, and that's where we see that things are going. They're just tanking. And it's a shame, because look, I get it. Some of you guys might be like, well, why are you so anti DC and WB, and you want it to go down? It's not that I want it to go down. The real talk is, I just want them to give us quality. Give us good quality. That's it. Good entertainment. Stop trying to give us crap that we didn't ask for. Shows and movies that nobody's interested in. Focus on your key characters. David Zaslav said from the beginning, when he was going to take over WB, that he was going to focus on the Trinity. Has he done that? Tell me, has David Zaslav really focused on the Trinity? No, because when he came on board, we still had Ben Affleck, we still had Gal Gadot, and we still had Henry Cavill. The moment he brought in James Gunn, he straight up screwed himself with the fans, because we already could see what was coming. A lot of us called it. We're like, this is going to become another Marvel. And that's exactly what it's become. DC has become a Marvel, and it sucks. As a fan, I don't want it to be turned and be touched by Disney. And what is WB doing? They're so desperate that they're hiring people from their competition. They're hiring people from Disney. Why? It didn't work with Joss Whedon. It's not working with James Gunn. It's not going to work with anybody from Marvel. WB needs to wake up and say, you know what? We need to stop this whole wannabe like Marvel and trying to do what the MCU is doing. You were already on the path to success with Zack Snyder, David Ayer, James Wan, Patty Jenkins. You had them all. You had everything, and you screwed it up yourself. WB came in and they thought, well, we know what's best for business. And what happens? Look at where they're at right now. All because they wouldn't let the director and the creators do what they wanted to do. WB, since the beginning, kept on screwing around with Zach, with David Ayer, the cast, and everything that came behind that. And what do we have now? The disaster that we're at right now. This is why I'm telling you, things are changing. Things are being prepared right before us that we don't know and we don't see. All these movies that continue to flop, and besides DC, look at Transformers. Nobody asked for that. I'm a Transformers fan. I prefer live action movies. I don't want to see a cartoon, childish, Disney Pixar style Transformers movie. Why? Nobody's asking for that. I want to see live action, what Michael Bay gave us, because that was quality. It was good. It was bringing people into the theaters. Merchandise was selling. The seats were always full. People were watching it. Now, nobody goes out anymore like that. You know why? Because after 2020, with that whole thing with the pandemic, what happened? Everybody got lazy. And of course, it's more convenient to see it streaming. And this is why I'm saying, if Comcast wants to capitalize, now is the time, because the future is all streaming. Look at how bad Disney is doing. They think that by bringing Robert Downey Jr. is going to increase and boost everything up. Okay, that's fine in one part. But how do you explain? Till this day, we don't know with the Eternals what happens with those big celestial characters. They're just there floating around the air, right? So all these years, all these shows, nobody has talked about it. They just like sweep it under the rug. That's the same thing with James Gunn. You can't just sweep it under the rug and be like, yo, Dark Side never happened. Zack Snyder's Justice League never happened. That timeline never happened. There's only one Dark Side. Where does he fall into everything? See what I'm saying? You can't just sweep that under the rug and be like, oh, the fans are going to forget it. No, they're not. They want that. Forever in history is going to be there. Everyone has questions. Where and what is Darkseid up to? What happens? See what I'm saying? And then the pictures coming out from Jay Oliva about Ben Affleck's Batman versus Deathstroke. All of a sudden, they just come afloat, right? No, it's not because it's coincidence. It's because something is happening. And the same thing happened when we were fighting for the Snyder Cut. Things were leaking here and there, and people were like, "Oh, you guys are delusional. Oh, that's just whatever." Blah blah blah. The same thing is happening right now. You have all these James Gunn supporters that are extremely toxic. That's what they are. If you don't fall in that category, good. But 95% of James Gunn supporters are toxic. They're evil and they're rotten, straight up. That's why I do not support that disgusting person of James Gunn because they're disgusting. If you don't believe me, go do research and you'll see. You don't believe that? They're probably part of the problem. But when it comes down to what Zach is doing, what WB needs to do with and if Comcast is the one that's going to be buying that division, they need to start working on what and how they're going to announce on how they want to approach this because they're preparing things. For sure, things are getting worked on and prepared on right now. Notice how we haven't heard back from David Ayer since that last post that he put. All right. I'm telling y'all, these people sign NDAs, non disclosure agreements. That means that you cannot talk. Let's go back to now while we're on the NDA. Remember when David Ayer came out and he spoke about Suicide Squad? You can tell that he was saying something he didn't want to say. It's like saying, hey, look, you signed this contract, but you're going to say everything against what you really want to say. If you go back and look at the interviews, Dave Ayer was like, "Yeah, this is my version. This is my cut. Oh, I take full responsibility for what happened with this movie and blah blah blah." He was taking all the heat because he had a non-disclosure agreement signed, meaning a contract where you can't talk, bash, or say anything about a movie project or anything you worked on or you were part of for a certain amount of time. The moment that time ran out, what did David Ayer do? He went to social media and started venting and talking about that wasn't his cut. That wasn't what he wanted to put. It was WB that butchered his movie and gave us that freaking Studio Squad version of Suicide Squad. What happened? The truth came out. For 5 years, he held it and he was holding back. And then recently, he came out and he was like, "Oh, oh, I believe in James Gunn." And then James Gunn's gonna release my cut. And then James Gunn was like, "Yeah, we're gonna try to see what we can do." I could see the lies. Like Riddler said, no more lies. And they continued to lie to us. And we saw it. And what happened? David Ayer got discouraged and he said, "I'm pretty much done with this. I just want my cut." All right, you can give up. We're the fans. We're gonna get your cut. The same way we got the Snyder cut when everybody was against us and opposing us and saying that we would never get it, and we finally have it. Yeah, we're gonna do the same thing for you, David Ayer. We got you. Don't worry. And it's happening. It's happening. When people said, "Oh, the Snyder cut isn't gonna happen," we got that. When people said, "Oh, the DCEU movies will never play on Netflix," that's delusional. And what did we get in 2023? We got some of the DCEU movies on Netflix. Sure, we didn't get Zack Snyder's Justice League on it because why? Of course, there's like probably copyright and stuff like that. Like they have to it's legal stuff, just the complicated stuff if you want to say. And what happened? Boom, we got some of those movies, including Justice League. I get it. I get it. We don't like Justice League, but I would rather take Justice League instead of what we're getting right now with this whole trashy reboot with James Gunn, which is completely embarrassing. Every time it just gets worse and worse, and it's just more and more cringe. And I'm like, I don't get how some quote unquote fans want everything that James Gunn is doing. Those are just fake fans covered as DC fans trying to infiltrate the same thing like a Trojan horse. They're in here trying to pretend they're real fans, but then when the movie come out, they don't go and support it. How come the Penguin didn't break numbers on each day? You're watching the Penguin for 4 days in a row, and all you got was 5.3 million views. That's it. You guys have been talking about this is going to be an amazing show, it's going to be awesome, and this and that, and all you got was 5.3 million views. That's embarrassing. You should have got 5.3 plus every day. But in 4 days, you got those numbers. So you're bringing it down to 1.3 million views. That's sad. That's sad. You get more views in one day within hours with a trailer. But then what happens? You guys don't go out and support it. So that it's what shows you. Now, when Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, what happened? The servers crashed because everybody was trying to see it any way possible, on their phone, on their laptops, they were on their desktops, they were on social media, people on bootleg. Everybody was trying to get a hold of the famous Snyder Cut. And then what happens? The servers of HBO Max get flooded because the traffic is too much. And if you don't believe me, if you don't think that that happens, you try going to a website of whatever it is that you like, right? And let's say, for example, I don't know, the new PlayStation Pro, right? PlayStation 5 Pro. Try to go on that day, right? Let's say, for example, like the holiday season or whenever it's going to come out, and try to get an order, or with the iPhone. What's going to happen? It's going to be nearly impossible because everybody wants it. Everybody's after it. You think you're the only one that wants it? No, everybody is, because it's a product that's in demand. That's the same thing with the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut was a product that was in high demand. And a lot of people want to sit here and argue and say, oh, the Snyder Cut wasn't a success. Oh, it wasn't good. Nobody cared about it. I'm sure those people that were talking about it were just there silently watching it and saying, damn, this is good. This is good. We can't let this come out. Yeah, exactly. Because it's quality. Quality scares people. And especially when you have people like James Gunn with his ego trying to build and establish something that's going to come down like a sandcastle, this is what happens. And especially now that he's in power, what is he going to do? He's going to try to make everything impossible for it not to work. But look at how things are changing. You think James Gunn's going to go up to David Zaslav? He has to report to him. You think David Zaslav's going to be like, you know what? Yeah, James Gunn, we're going to do what you want. No. David Zaslav's going to do what he wants as long as there's money. So what is he going to do? He's going to be like, yo, we're in serious debt. I want to jump this ship soon. I don't blame him, but it's because you're poor leadership. You have no idea how to run DC. You have no idea how to run all these IPs that you have, and you've been sitting there for years, and everything has just been tanking. You can't blame the fans for that. You got to take responsibility and ownership and accept the fact that you have no idea what you're doing at DC. You have no idea what you're doing with Harry Potter and those IPs. What has he done? Oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. He's just been talk. And the actions are speaking. He hasn't been doing anything. And this is why their stocks keep on tanking. Things continue to go down every time more and more. So, in the end, when you see it, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to have to sell some of these assets. This company is not going to stay afloat any longer. What do I do? Sell? Or do I go ahead and just, like what's the alternative? All right, you're not going to sell because you're going to want to keep it, obviously. So, what's the next conclusion? Give the fans what they want. What have the fans been asking for? The Snyder Cut. Then we should give them what they want. Exactly. That's what you should have done since the beginning. You should have never brought in James Gunn. You should have let Zack Snyder and David Ayer continue doing their thing. Or if you wanted to do this whole reboot, keep them, but put them on a separate timeline, the same way that you're doing with Matt Reeves. So now you have James Gunn picking and choosing what he wants from the Snyderverse and from the Ayerverse. So it's okay for him to pick out John Cena, that's from the DCEU, right? From that universe. It's okay for James Gunn to pick out Amanda Waller, because if it wasn't for David Ayer that casted Viola Davis, there would be no Amanda Waller, because James Gunn likes what Viola Davis has been playing with that character of Amanda Waller. That's why she's been in all his projects, because he sees that there's potential. Exactly. Oh, but you're going to come and pick and choose? Blue Beetle, part of the DCEU. He gets to stay? How come? So why are we picking and choosing? Oh, we're playing that game? Okay. So we're gonna play the little pick and choose game. Okay. We'll get you at the box office. We'll get you at your shows. That's where we the fans come together and we win. And how do you win? Simple. Keep your wallets closed. And that's what the James Gunn fans and his supporters fear, because they know and they're constantly posting it all over my comments and all over social media. Give James Gunn a chance. Give the new DCU a chance. The DCU hasn't even started. It doesn't need to start. It's already done. Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad are proof of what's to come. And if you enjoy yourself with that trash, then you're part of the problem. That's why this company continues to sink. Now, you're going to come here and argue about my opinion? Come at me right. And another thing, while I'm talking about the subject, just because I want to bring it up, I know there's a few clowns out there that love to feed off of my page, and they're constantly always talking about my opinion. What is it to you? What is it to you? You just want clout? Get out of here with that. Nobody cares about it. That's what opinions are about. An opinion. Now, when I come here and I talk to you with facts, you can't accept them. You're the one with the problem. We, the fans, know what we want, and we're not stopping. And that's the beautiful part because you can't stop us, fans. We know what we want. We want quality. We don't want comedy. We don't want all these perverted jokes. We don't want what James Gunn is doing. And most important, we do not want James Gunn in charge of DC. You could tell there's a lot of favoritism going on in the studio, but all of that has cost them, literally. It has cost them and it has finally caught up. This is why I'm telling y'all the Snyderverse is on the horizon. The air cut is on the horizon. It's coming. We're going to get it. Say what you say, hear what you hear. It's on the way. It's cooking right now. All right. So when people say, "Oh no, it's not gonna happen," oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. The same way you said that the Snyder Cut would never happen, and we have it. Yeah, that's solid proof right there. We did it before, and we're gonna do it again. We've already gone through 2 mergers. How are you gonna stop us? You're not. We, the fans, speak, and when we speak with our wallets. That's why you have to keep those wallets closed, because look at what we're doing. And I gotta congratulate everybody that has not watched Penguin. That right there is winning because we, the fans, are not going to accept what they want to give us. You want me to subscribe to your HBO Max plan? Give me quality. You don't give me quality, I'm just not going to support it. That's why I don't have Disney Plus. Why? There's nothing good on it. The old shows, what I already have most of those movies on physical. Why do I need to watch it again on streaming? See what I'm saying? When the Snyder Cut came out, I got my copy. I don't need HBO Max for what? I got the physical copy. That's what I was fighting for, and along with everybody, we were fighting for, and we finally have it. And soon we'll have in our collection David Ayer's Suicide Squad, the Ayer cut. You're gonna see it's going to happen. It's on the way. Things are changing. Things are shifting. It's no coincidence that all of these things are happening. I see a lot of people jumping ship from the DCU, and they used to talk about it. We've already seen a lot of people, they flaked out, they turned their backs, and some are starting to do it. All they do is talk about this whole new reboot and this reboot, and yo, nobody cares about it. If you keep on giving it attention, then people are going to want to see it. Nobody cares about that. But look at the interesting part. And this is the part that nobody's barely talking about. I don't see no other channels talking about that. How come nobody's bringing up to light this whole thing with Zach, this whole thing with David Ayer, and what are the possibilities with Comcast coming into play? Because I see in the end, Comcast is the one that's going to acquire, and they're going to have the full rights to WB with that division. Maybe not the whole studio, the whole brand of Warner Brothers, but they're going to have the key character when it comes to what DC is about. Now, the comics, I don't care. Do what you want to do with that. Now, the video game side, that's where they get their money. And if it's not working, then you need to cut it. Stop continuing something that's not working. Go back to the drawing board and continue what was working. When the fans came out and they supported, what were they watching? They have the statistics, they have the numbers. They know what people want. But why they won't give it? Because they're hard headed, they're stubborn. They think that they know what's best. And this right here is the outcome. This is what happens when you don't fully listen to your fans and your audience. They turn on you. And not only did they turn on you, they know that you're not delivering what they want. You don't do that with your fans. You never do that. When the fans come together, in the end, the fans know what they want. This is why they're fans, short for fanatics, because they enjoy, they love, and they support what they like. And it tells you, because you see right now, the Penguin, it's not making the numbers that they thought they were going to make. They're not, realistically. 5.3 million is not enough for a 4 day span. You have 24 hours in a day. Do the math times four. That's what you're getting? That's it? If I was the one in charge in WB, I'd be like, we're pulling the plug on this thing now. It didn't work. This is a pilot, right? It's a pilot episode. That means that that's the beginning of what you're going to bring. Boring. I would cancel that immediately and be like, you know what? We're going back to the drawing board because it's not working. We spent this much money. We're expecting this much views, and I don't want to hear no excuses. It's 2024, all right? September 2024. We got October, November, December. We got 3 more months for this year to be over. What's my point? The point is, we're already in the future. If we have all this social media and we have every way possible of getting people to watch our product on our service of HBO Max, why aren't we reaching those goals? You know why? Because you've lost the mainstream audience. You've lost your fans. Your fans don't believe in you anymore. And this is what's happening. It's showing you. Joker 2 is right around the corner. Today's the 24th, comes out next week. Right? Joker 2 is not going to make the numbers that they're expecting. And you better believe it, it's not going to make $1 billion. It's not. It's going to get close to it, but it won't make it. And if it does make it to $1 billion, it's not gonna make it in the 3 days when it releases. It's probably gonna make it within some time, if big if. And this whole thing going on with Lady Gaga. If you don't know what's going on, go look it up, and you'll see that's not bringing any good publicity to this movie right now. They should have never done Joker 2. I'm not convinced with it. I'm gonna go check it out. I'm gonna go in there with an open mind. I love the first movie. The first movie was amazing. But Todd Phillips should have said, you know what? We're not going to make a part two because this is gonna haunt them. It's gonna haunt them in the long run. This company keeps on losing money instead of gaining money. And when the profits go up, it's not much. Their stocks, it's only cents. It's not a lot. This is why I think things are changing and they are moving fast with their backup plan with Zack Snyder and David Ayer. When the Ayer cut gets released, they know that they're going to get viewers to watch on HBO Max. Good. That's a smart move. That's how you do it. People are going to watch that. People are waiting for that. You have celebrities that want to see that. You don't believe me? Go Google it. You'll see it. You'll see Cedric the Entertainer. He's like, yo, release the Ayer cut. There's a video of that. Go see it. You'll see. He's on Twitter. So it tells you that the man is still there. People have not moved on. The only ones that have moved on are people that just didn't like what David Ayer and Zack Snyder were doing, and they're just bitter and salty about it. This is why we, the fans, know what we want. We will continue to fight for what we firmly believe in. You want us to stop talking about the Snyderverse? Then give us a proper conclusion. That's all we want. We're just fighting for a proper ending. I get that asked a lot everywhere, even in person for people that I know. They're like, "Why do you keep on fighting for a universe that's quote unquote done?" It's not done. Why is it done? Because you say it's done? There's still a fan base. Products still sell. If they didn't sell, why you have McFarlane Toys bringing out new molds and new things of a quote unquote dead franchise? No, because it's still alive and people want more of it. Why do you have the trending events when we do and people are supporting it? You know why? Because people want that vision. They want to see the proper ending to what Zach was going to give us. And the same thing with David Ayer. We're going to get much more. Let's not forget, before Birds of Prey came, we were supposed to get Gotham City Sirens. And what happened to that? Oh, that's right. Once again, the studio thought they knew what's best for business, and they gave us that flop mess of Birds of Prey. Look at how terrible it did. And don't come here and tell me, oh, because of the pandemic. No, because it was right before it. Because a week before, we had Sonic that came out. Or I think it was Sonic 2. No, I think it was Sonic 1, the first one. And then what happens? Boom, that movie tanked. They didn't bring in Jared Leto. They had an extra that looked like him. They try to like ignore everything that happened in Suicide Squad, and then of course it goes into the Suicide Squad. And look at how terrible that one did. That one was just as bad, if not worse. So how much money has James Gunn been costing Warner Brothers? A lot of money. How much did they spend on the Flush? What was like 300 million, and then you spend another 200 million on what is it? The Suicide Squad. You're already negative 500 million, and then they ask for another, I think another 100 million. So what you have now, a total is like 600 million. Where's the profit? You're losing money. Also, what? Barbie made $1 billion. Oh, big deal. Dune 2 made $1 billion. Oh, big deal. But how much is the debt of WB? Those 2 billion are gone because they owe so much on their debt. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. The company keeps on sinking at the rate that they're going. If you do not believe me, how come you don't hear that Netflix is shutting down, or they're closing, or they're cutting off people, laying off people, and you don't hear that? How come you don't see their stocks dropping in the $7 range or $6 range? You know why? Because Netflix is quality. It has a little bit of everything for everyone. But how come WB doesn't pass the $7? And the other day, it just barely reached $8 with the announcement of Zach. Sure, you might be like, oh, I told you it's not going to be a success. You have to understand, just because that was a quick update announcement, we already knew that Zach was coming back because it was already leaked before it got announced. So you can't come here and try to justify it and say, well, the Snyderverse is dead. You see, ha ha, they're still in the negative. Yes, they're still in the negative because people are not watching the Penguin. People are not supporting their shows. They're not watching their stuff. They're not buying their stuff. If you don't believe me, go to the stores. Go to the stores right now, and you see most of the stuff on clearance. You'll see it on the clearance side. You know what does that tell you? Nobody's buying it, not even in the clearance price. Nobody's paying $5 for the Suicide Squad of James Gunn. That's where it belongs. You know where it goes after that $5 bin? Usually it goes to like places like Ross, Big Lots, or it goes to a dollar store. That's the last alternative. And then after that, if it doesn't sell there, you know where it goes to? To the landfill, to the trash. They completely destroy it because nobody bought it. That's what happens with these things. I'm being realistic with you. That's what happens with this stuff. GameStop does it all the time. When things don't sell, they start going out. They lower the price, clearance, until they penny out the item, which means you can't buy it anymore, and then it just goes to either donation or it gets disposed of the trash, and that's what happens. This is what 2 or 300 million WB has spent with James Gunn led him to a flop. You would have made 200 plus double if you would have continued the Snyderverse, if you would have released the air cut, and you would have given the fans what they wanted. You promised us a slate of movies, WB. You promised us a beautiful lie. It was too good to be true. And then you bring in people from Marvel and you think, oh, that's what's going to fix and be the solution, right? No, we don't want WB to turn into Marvel slash Disney. And that's what it's already become, because WB is so desperate till this day, 10 years deep, and they still want to play and be like Marvel. It's not going to work. It hasn't worked, and it will never work. But that's where we're at. I just wanted to talk about that, let y'all know about that, because this has to be addressed. You know, it's ridiculous. It's bonkers how I see people online trying to justify flops. And this is what I've been calling for a while. You're going to see, as we get more and more into this whole reboot, that WB and these fake fans are going to try to justify and say that a flop is acceptable. Oh, it's okay because it's the beginning to something new. Oh, but you know what? These flops, they're okay. They should be accepted. No, they're not. There should be no excuse for any flop to be acceptable. And if it's a flop, can it? Move on to the next thing. So drop your comments. I want to see. I know I see some comments, so I can read real quick. Take a few minutes. Yep, let's get the servers restored, my friend. You know it. What's good? What's good, bro? What up, Sean? What up, Daniel? Good Snyderverse news, please. Yes, we have good news. We're still waiting for more stuff, but as this whole DCU continues to sink, things are just gonna shift. They're gonna have to go into booster gear, because this is just every time is even more and more just embarrassing. Joker 2 looks boring. Yes, it does. I saw the trailer. Yeah, even the new one. They're trying to market it real hard, but it's just not getting the results of it and stuff like that. And we're gonna find out as we get close. Now here's another thing too. Peep game to this. That means just keep an eye on it. When next week tickets go up for sale, which I'm probably sure gonna be now, but when the tickets go up for sale next week, go look on your app wherever you buy your tickets, and you'll see if it's moving or not. Because if you see a lot of empty seats, that's a bad sign. You already know what that means. And it's obvious in the first day, people are going to want to go see it because they're curious. Probably like on Thursday night, Wednesday night, some theaters allow you to go see it. I might go see it. I'm still debating on it, like when I'm going to go see it. I'm probably going to wait a few days after, just because you know, the whole crowds and stuff like that. But I like to be more comfortable when there's less people in the theater and you can actually enjoy it. You know, that's the only advantage sometimes. But you'll see that the theaters, when they sell their tickets, how many seats there's available. That's gonna tell you the how this movie's going to do. What a mess. Yes, exactly. Restore the Snyderverse. What a Pedro. What a Slipknot. Yes. Let's see. Joker 2 trailer was rather underwhelming. Yeah, yeah, it is. Happy seeing people turning on each other at WB. Oh man. What up, Geek Defense? Yeah, the I heard that what's it, I don't even know how you pronounce his name. I don't know, was that Gonchio taking credit for the Penguin in spite of doing everything and his power to screw over that show? Yep, yep, yep. And I know that the guy that made the music, he's talking about he's gonna come back to compose the Batman too. I'm like, all right, big deal. Who cares? Yep. Yeah, yeah. All right. So there's a poll on Movie Talk now asking if people will see Joker 2. There's the results. 27 yes, no 51. Wow. Depends on reception 50%, undecided 6%. That tells you a lot. You have a poll. I'm probably gonna put a poll similar to that. But yeah, people are telling you this is where it's come. You know, like people are just fed up with this overall. You know, people just want good entertainment. I don't know about some of y'all, but I don't need all my movies to be corny, to be cheesy, to be from beginning to end full of jokes. It's not. Like I told y'all. Remember I said and I spoke about this what I'm about to bring up. I told you guys before anybody in the media and in the news outlets said, I was saying when we got the flush, go back and look at my videos and you'll see about over a year ago when the flush came out and we had got that little dog that was falling off of the building in that scene of the where the Flash is trying to save everyone, I called it and I said, "This is a tease that we're going to see Crypto the dog in Superman." At the time, it was Superman Legacy. A lot of people were like, "No, that's just a dog and this and that." I was like, "He's just letting us know ahead of time. That's what he's gonna bring." And look at what we're reading and hearing now. That Crypto the dog, the talking dog, is going to be in Superman next year. How much more desperate can you be to keep on cramming all of these characters into one movie? This movie is no longer Superman. This movie should just be called Everybody But Superman, you know, because it's just wild. It's just wild. If you look at right now, go on Google and put Superman cast 2025. Let's look at this, all right? Look at that cast. That cast is insane. Insane. In one movie, you have Superman, right? This is a Superman movie, but you have Lois Lane, you have Supergirl, you have Hawkgirl, you have Lex Luthor. What? Already? You have Jimmy Olsen, you have Rick Flag Sr., Metamorpho. What? Maxwell, Lord Maxwell, whatever his name is, Mr. Terrific. See what I'm saying? That is crazy. And not only that, they're of course they're not going to tell you, you know, the other cast of characters because they don't want to reveal everybody's going to be there. You're going to have the dog, and most likely the dog is going to be voiced by James Gunn's brother. I'm telling you, that's what it's probably going to be. James Gunn, Sean Gunn is probably going to be doing the voice of Crypto. Because you know James Gunn likes to keep it in the family. You know he doesn't like to bring in other people. He only likes to look out for his own. Sad, just sad. You know. Hello, CS. You are a fan of Michael Bay's Transformers, right? Yes, I am. I saw a post where you would like Paramount to continue where the last night left off. Yep, I do. I actually do want for Paramount to continue and to, in other words, just bring back the Bayverse. Honestly, you know, when Michael Bay was there, those Transformer movies, they were awesome. People were lining up to go see it in the theaters, and I get it. They got more and more out of control, and they were getting more and more like wild. But that's what you have to do. If the Fast and the Furious saga can do it and get away with it, why can't Michael Bay? I enjoy what Michael Bay gives us. It's entertainment. When I go to a movie, I want to see a movie that's going to take my mind away from reality. That's why I want to be entertained. I'm sure a lot of us do. You know, I don't want to sit there and be like, damn, this movie's the same problems that we're facing in the real world. You know, that's one thing I didn't like about what Christopher Nolan was doing with the whole Batman franchise, if you want to say, because it was just way too realistic. I was like, I don't. If I wanted my characters, like to be like in the real world setting, just turn on the news. I mean, just turn on the news. It's just I want to unplug from reality. This whole thing with the new Transformers one that I'm gonna go see today. It shouldn't be like that. It should be live action. And it's tanking because a lot of fans don't care about that. They want to see things how it was supposed to be. Just continue it live action. But it is what it is. Hey, what's going on, Ace? Appreciate you. But yeah, I'm about to get going. I just want to talk about that real quick, but it's interesting at the same time. But things are changing. Just keep an eye on how things are shifting. You might not be able to see it because you probably don't understand that point of view, but just sit back and look at the big picture. Where and what has David Zaslav, James Gunn, and Peter Safran led WB to this day? To a success or flops? You decide. And where and what is Zach up to? And where and what is David Ayer up to? Because of course, Beekeeper was a great movie. It was a huge success. You might not say it wasn't, but it was. So, what do you think that with the Ayer cut, it's not going to? Of course it is. And of course, we already know what Zach is doing over there at Netflix, crushing it. You know, and I'm sure that WB wants some of that money. But yeah, all right. So I'm gonna let y'all go. Y'all have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. All that good stuff. Y'all stay safe, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right. Peace.